Hi, friend. There are moments in life when we follow the expectations of the world instead of listening to the quiet truth inside ourselves. In 2018, Emma Watson seemed untouchable, a global icon, a millionaire, and one of the most recognizable faces in Hollywood. She had conquered the industry at an age when most people are still figuring out who they are. From Harry Potter to The Perks of Being a Wallflower to Beauty and the Beast, Emma appeared destined to become one of the greats. And yet, at the height of her fame, she vanished. No scandals, no box office disaster, no dramatic downfall, just one unexpected announcement. She was stepping away from acting. To understand why, we have to go back to the very beginning.
Emma Charlotte Duer Watson was born on April 15, 1990, in Paris. Yes, before she became the most famous British witch of all time, she was actually French. Her parents, Chris Watson and Jacqueline Lousby, were both English lawyers, living in the elegant neighborhood of Maison Lafitte. Soon after Emma's birth, her younger brother Alex arrived, seemingly completing the perfect family picture. But perfection never lasts long. Her parents' relationship fell apart, and the family split. Emma and Alex moved with their mother to Oxfordshire, while their father stayed in London. Her childhood became a constant journey between two homes, two routines, and two different versions of herself. During the week, she lived with her mother. On weekends, she packed her small suitcase and traveled to see her father. And somewhere between those transitions, Emma began acting, not on a stage, but in life. She acted calm so her parents wouldn't worry. She acted strong so her brother wouldn't feel scared. She acted like nothing was wrong, even when everything was changing. In those years, she learned her first painful truth. Sometimes you have to become a different person just to survive.
Money was tight after the divorce. Still, Emma's father worked tirelessly to put her in the prestigious Dragon School. He believed education could open doors that life had tried to close. Emma noticed every sacrifice, and from then on, two things became permanent in her mind. Education matters, and she would never waste the opportunities given to her. At night, her father would read stories to Emma and Alex. Among them were brand new books sweeping through England, the Harry Potter series. The world of magic fascinated her, but one character resonated deeply: Hermione Granger, a clever, determined girl battling her own fears, determined to succeed through intelligence and courage. Emma saw herself in Hermione long before she knew she would one day become her. Then one day at school, something changed. A teacher asked every student to write a poem and read it aloud. When Emma opened her mouth, all the emotion she had bottled up, the confusion, the pressure, the pain, poured out through her words. She felt relief, freedom, a small spark of healing. But later, she brushed it off as just acting. She didn't realize it yet, but acting had just become her sanctuary. Emma started participating in school plays. Her talent shocked even her own parents, not because she was simply good, but because she came alive on stage in a way they'd never seen. Her mother, despite financial struggles, fully supported her passion. She enrolled Emma in Stagecoach Theater Art School, where she studied acting, singing, and dancing. Meanwhile, something massive was unfolding in London. Harry Potter's popularity exploded. Warner Bros. Approached J.K. Rowling about adapting the books for film, even before the final books were written. Rowling agreed, but under strict conditions. The cast had to be authentically British. The magical world's rules and lore must never be changed, and she would oversee creative decisions directly. This would not be one film. This would be 7 years of storytelling, following children as they grew up on and off screen. Warner Bros. Began a massive casting search across the UK. At Emma's school, teachers immediately thought of the bright, disciplined girl who loved performing. Emma felt something she couldn't explain, as if destiny was quietly calling her name. She auditioned, she waited, and then her life changed forever.
The Girl Who Became Hermione. The day Emma walked into the audition room, she had no idea she was stepping into history. She read lines, she performed with heart, and she showed a maturity far beyond her age. When the casting directors saw her, they didn't see a child trying to act. They saw Hermione Granger, alive, real, undeniable. Soon, Emma, Daniel Radcliffe, and Rupert Grint were chosen as the trio who would become the center of a global phenomenon. The moment the announcement went public, Emma's childhood ceased to exist. What followed was a whirlwind: press tours, interviews, long filming days, tutors on set, thousands of cameras, millions of fans. Emma Watson was no longer a girl navigating two households. Now, she was a face recognized in every country. Everywhere she went, she carried the weight of Hermione on her shoulders.
Fame at a cost. People assume child stardom is magical. And while there were magical moments, there were also quiet, heavy moments the world never saw. Emma once described the experience as being famous overnight. One day, she was a schoolgirl reading Harry Potter in bed. The next, she was Hermione, watched, praised, judged, photographed, followed. She later admitted she often felt overwhelmed. She struggled with the idea that millions of people felt they knew her, even though she barely understood herself. Behind the scenes, Emma wrestled with identity. Who was she when she wasn't Hermione? Who was she allowed to be? And who was she expected to become? These questions only grew louder as the movies became more successful. As the franchise continued, Emma faced pressures that no teenager should endure. Public expectations were enormous. The media analyzed everything: her appearance, her weight, her friendships, her relationships, her interviews. She once revealed that she felt constantly watched, saying, "I felt there was no room for error. I had to be perfect. Always." Even at 15, she understood something adults twice her age struggle with. Fame is not freedom. It is responsibility, pressure, and sometimes a cage. To protect herself, Emma began to build emotional walls, speaking carefully, acting carefully, living carefully. But something inside her was starting to crack. While most child stars abandoned school due to fame, Emma did the opposite. She held on to education like a lifeline. She completed her exams while filming. She studied in trailers, hotel rooms, on planes, anywhere she could. Then came her boldest decision. At the peak of her fame, she enrolled at Brown University in the United States. Many questioned why an actress with global success would choose college. But Emma wasn't searching for a career, she was searching for herself. At Brown, she walked freely across campus, not as Hermione, not as a celebrity, but as Emma. For the first time in years, she was able to breathe. She later said, "I needed to figure out who I was without the noise." It wasn't about escaping Hollywood, it was about understanding the girl beneath the fame. Still, the struggle didn't end. While studying, Emma continued filming Harry Potter and later new films. She jumped between two worlds, student and superstar. The feeling she had as a child, being two different people, returned. With her friends at university, she tried to be normal. With Hollywood, she had to be perfect. This pushed her toward activism, feminism, and humanitarian work. She wanted to use her voice for causes she believed in, not just movies she was expected to promote. Emma began to realize that acting alone was no longer enough. After the success of Beauty and the Beast in 2017, Emma had achieved everything an actress could dream of: global fame, financial success, critical respect, influential roles, a loyal fan base.
But instead of feeling fulfilled, she felt empty. She admitted privately that she struggled with the pressure of public expectations. She felt she could never make a mistake, never disappoint, never slow down. And when she looked at her life, she saw something frightening. Emma Watson, the actress, existed, but Emma Watson, the person, was disappearing. So she made a decision few could understand, a decision that stunned Hollywood. She walked away. The disappearance. Without drama, without a scandal, without a fall from grace, Emma simply stopped. She stopped acting, she stopped public appearances, she stopped accepting new roles. Her representatives confirmed she was dormant, a polite way of saying Emma Watson had quietly retired. So why did she leave? Because for the first time in her life, she chose what made sense for her, not what made sense to the world.
For years, the public created stories about her disappearance. Some believed she had been pushed out of the industry. Others thought she was simply tired. Many assumed she had found a new passion. But the truth was much more human. In an interview, Emma finally opened up. She said she felt trapped, like she couldn't fully express herself within the world that made her famous. She questioned every choice, not because she wanted approval, but because she feared disappointing the millions who grew up watching her. She confessed something heartbreaking. She felt like a product more than a person. And so she stepped away for the first time in her life to reclaim the girl behind the icon. Away from the cameras, Emma reinvented herself quietly. She focused on education, completing her degree, activism, becoming a UN Women Goodwill Ambassador, writing, exploring her love for storytelling, business, stepping into environmental and ethical ventures, and silence, rediscovering peace away from the spotlight. Her life became simple, private, and intentional. For the first time, she wasn't defined by scripts, directors, or contracts. She lived without judgment and without a worldwide audience watching her every move. Emma Watson finally experienced the one thing fame had taken from her: normalcy. While Emma was building a quiet life, Hollywood kept evolving, but something was missing. Her grace, her intelligence, her presence, her voice. There's a reason Hermione became iconic. Emma didn't just play the role, she embodied it. And yet, Emma knew she had to let go for a while. Only distance could help her rediscover what she truly wanted. Her decision proved something powerful. Success means nothing if you lose yourself in the process. This question has echoed for years. Will Emma Watson act again? When asked about her future, she didn't close the door. She simply said, "I will return when it feels right, when I have something meaningful to say." This wasn't a farewell. It was a pause, a reset. She hinted that directing, producing, or storytelling might one day bring her back, but only on her own terms, only when she's ready. She reminded the world that she is not just an actress. She is a creator, a thinker, a woman discovering her own path. Emma Watson didn't disappear because she was weak. She stepped back because she was strong enough to recognize her limits. Her legacy is not just Hermione or Belle or the roles she left behind. Her legacy is the message she lived. You do not owe your entire life to public expectations. You are allowed to choose yourself. You are allowed to walk away, even from your dreams, especially when they no longer feel like yours. Emma's story is a reminder that beneath the fame, the applause, the red carpets, there is always a person, a human being searching for peace, purpose, and self-love. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is simply stop.
Emma Watson may no longer live in the spotlight, but she lives in a place far more important, in the hearts of millions who saw her grow, who found strength in her characters, and who now see strength in her silence. Her story isn't over. It's just different, more real, more human. And one day, when she returns, not as Hermione, not as Belle, but as Emma, the world will be ready. Because sometimes the end of one chapter is just the beginning of another.